Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I feel like the Nature Incarnate majors are pretty much all hits.
Hmm.
I think there's, you mentioned earlier Unearth a Beast of Wrathful Stone. I
Yeah,
thought it
that's
was
a
difficult to
polarizing
like
one,
make
but I
that.
think it's like some people they feel like it's too hard to pull off or and everything, but like when it works, it's awesome. So
Yeah. And I like the idea of some cards being like, this is difficult to pull off, but when it works, it's going to hit big. And other spirits, which are like, or other powers, which are a little more consistent.
yeah,
Are there any power cards beyond that that you're excited to have in the game when you play?
from Nature Incarnate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I honestly haven't like played them a ton. Like I've played through playtesting and stuff, but like I'm trying to think if there's. I think like honestly the one that's always exciting that comes up is transformative sacrifice because it is a bit of a like you win the game card, but it's also like just so fun to just suddenly you have like eight more cards, well, four more cards, and then like you use it again, like, and suddenly everyone has so many cards, and you don't have to worry. Like it just breaks open the whole card economy of the game in a really different way. So
And for
yeah,
those unfamiliar with that power, it lets you transform a certain number of your presence, remove them from the game, or destroy them. And then for each one that you do, you get to take a minor power and you can use it immediately. And then, that's a card that you keep for the rest of the game. So you get a ton of card draw and a ton of extra actions.
yeah, and the threshold is like proliferate for one more. It's like it's a cost.
Yeah.
But like that I think it's a spiritual successor for growth through sacrifice, basically, in terms of like what it does or like how it grows you. So, but it's a major power, of course. So,
Yeah. Um, so uh, playing the game feels differently on the digital version versus like when you're around a tabletop. When you're like creating the digital version, and I guess this is more about the base game than the expansion, how do you think about the way in which like the medium affects how you play? Or are there any like spirits where you think the experience of playing on a computer, on a tablet, on a phone is different than at a table?
yeah, I think for me, I don't feel like there's a big difference like solo, but there's a difference playing multiplayer. Like, there's the communication is not going to be as great, and like you don't get that vibe of like sitting around the table. Um, you also like I think in multiplayer you don't control the other spirits and they're going to do stuff that you didn't think of doing, which is good, but also like it's good and bad in terms of like winning the game, but like it gives you different perspectives, right? So I don't actually have a I moved to Vancouver last year, and so I don't have a regular gaming group here anymore, but so I haven't played a lot in the tabletop recently, but yeah, for me, like I hear people mentioning about like they don't it's hard for them to see the state of the game and all that stuff. But I think the more you play, the more you get used to it and internalize it. And like the nice thing for me about digital board games is, yeah, I can like dedicate all of my brain power to actually solving the problem and not worrying about how the rules work and all of that. So
I mean, I think those are the two major pluses of the Steam port is like the rules will always work, so you know that you didn't forget Scotland 6, for instance, or
yeah,
forget the Habsburg mining thing that happens after the build. Um, and then the other benefit is like I think the like fiddliness of certain tokens and that just all being taken care of is something that I really appreciate about it. Like there are some spirits like Wandering Voice, we are constantly adding and taking away strife that I'm excited to just like not have to do that because it's all taken care of on the computer, which is unbelievably lazy, but
yeah. I mean, like there's a lot of setup and teardown. You can optimize it pretty well, but it's still it's not nothing. And if you just want to crack out a lot of games, then like Dr. Ocean, I don't know if you've heard about that player. There's
I have, but tell people who are listening and watching.
awesome. Yeah. Shout out to Dr. Ocean.
Yeah, can you describe who that is?
Oh yeah, yeah. So the game keeps track of like the results of all the games, and we don't like do something a whole lot with that, but we make that available to some folks to do some analysis on it. And someone realized that like there's one player who has played like thousands of games with Ocean against Precious Six, like just over and like they play once a day or once or twice a day. Like it's very regular. They almost always win, and some they posted it on Board Game Geek, and I don't think the Dr. Ocean herself posted, but her husband did and said, "Oh yeah, my wife is a doctor, and she just wants a relaxing game where she knows how it's going to go, and it's just something she did." And I tried Dr. Ocean's game. It's not easy.
Right. I feel like the first time this came up was someone saying like we looked through the API to find out what the hardest and easiest matchups were, and
Yeah,
saying Ocean versus Prussia 6 was one of the easiest, and it's truly just one person with a 99% win rate who played
yeah,
several thousand games. Because
yeah,
I'm
because they've gotten really good at that matchup, and like that's something when you look at analysis of game results in anything like this, like you like weeding out like how good the player is versus their setups and all that stuff. Like that's you can't just take a straight average, right? Like and I know there's other players who like they just play sharp fangs against France or things like that. Like there's people who have idiosyncrasies. You also have I'm pretty sure there's a player who is probably a kid with like the free version on mobile who's just plays the game to death with just the low complexity spirits because they never unlock the full game. They're just playing it forever. And I mean, I know that I would have been that kid, right? Like I played Command and Conquer demo and I played Wolfenstein and Doom, the shareware versions, like to death. And I would be in the analytics the same way for them if they had them.
yeah, I thinking of playing like how much I played the StarCraft campaigns like to death, even though
Mm-hmm.
it's only what like 30 missions or something. I'm sure I played them all 10 times. Um, what spirit is your most played?
Uh, that's a good question. If it's just like for development and testing, it's probably lightning because I usually throw lightning in the game so I can make powers fast for to test them quickly.
What about in your non-testing games?
And yeah, I think Ocean is definitely up there. I don't keep track, so I couldn't tell you for sure. Generally in games like this, I don't really have a favorite character. I randomize. Like when I used to play Sentinels with my game group in Halifax on a weekly basis, and we just always randomize. Like there's no hero that I always play. I just like I like to randomize and have a different challenge every time. So definitely don't have a main or anything like that.
Um, so, uh, can you talk a little bit about what spirit you're most excited to see join the fray? Which one are you most excited for people to see, for you to play yourself?
Yeah, that's interesting. I honestly haven't played the Nature Incarnate Spirits on the tabletop. Just been working through their cards and stuff like that because they don't have a group here. I have the game here, but I just haven't cracked it out to solo them or anything. But as you get familiar with games like this, you don't really have to necessarily like play the content against other people. You can just like work through it, right? But I think the Breath of Darkness down your spine with the Endless Dark is something we're going to have a lot of fun with in digital. That's a really interesting thing, as well as the spirits that have special tokens that affect the board in special ways, like the Deeps aspect for Ocean and Dances Up Earthquakes are something we're looking forward to in the digital space for sure.
I, for one, am looking forward to seeing what the visual effect for deep sinking a land looks like. I think that's one of the like most flavorful and thematic like big moments in a game where you're playing towards a goal over a couple rounds, and then like it's like a huge moment.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that something we do want to do something special for. Doing stuff with the boards is interesting and a little tricky because like we have the 3D view and the 2D view, and we got to make sure that they both work. And sometimes there's special effects that are only on 3D, just because mainly the 2D players are mostly looking for a simplified view, and they don't necessarily want any weird animations going on anyway. So. Um, but yeah, working in 3D is a different challenge that we didn't really have in our other games, except Bottom of the Ninth, if you ever fired that up.
Do you ever play any of the games on the Spirit Island Discord? I know there's a whole mess of different games that sort of uh, expand what's possible. There was a 144 Spirit game where there was two of every spirit in every aspect. Other ones where they sort of tweak the rules a little bit. Spirits that use other spirits as cards. Do you participate in the community in anything like that?
Yeah, I've seen some of that going on, but I haven't played those. Honestly, using Tabletop Simulator, I would rather put my hand in the frying pan or something like that. It's so terrible. I think the developers never used a Mac before, and so even though it runs on Mac, it's horrible, the interface. So not a big fan.
Okay.
But I understand why people use it, but I think now, especially when Nature Incarnate is going to make Spirit Island digital content complete, there's not a whole lot that's going to be needed for TTS. You have the weird things, but for regular play, the official digital version should hopefully be the go-to for everyone.
Yeah. Um, so, last thing I just want to ask is, where can folks get the new expansion?
Yeah, so it's going to be releasing simultaneously on Steam and iOS and Google Play. And actually, we're announcing right now it's going to be November 6th. So next week.
That's very exciting. That's next Thursday?
Yeah, so you can be free to share the news
Okay.
right away. Yeah, so it's been we've been working on it basically since Jagged Earth ended, and after wrapping up bug fixes and stuff for that. And I think just especially as I mentioned with the Incarna and everything, there's just been so many weird things to fix, and quite a bit of content actually with the cards. And so we're pretty happy with where it's getting to, and we're going to be ready to ship it out. So it's actually on Steam. The Steam store page is up right now, so you can throw a wish list there. And yeah, it's going to be launching out next week on all platforms.
Okay, you heard it here first, November 6th. And I really appreciate how much care went into like all of the bug checking in advance. Like when Finder came out a few months ago, I thought for sure that was going to be a hot mess. There's so many weird little tweaks around adjacencies and things, and it just worked very smoothly. So really appreciate how much went into that and how much went into Nature Incarnate, and excited to play it on November 6th.
Yeah,
So thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you around playing Spirit Island, maybe on the Discord someday.
awesome. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Sean.